Jaedong cheese, I'm back in this. It could shift that way.
Anything can happen here, guys. Jaedong, though, playing very nice StarCraft 2 in the series so far. Two pretty comfortable wins here from him. Hasn't really been tested as much as we would have thought he would leading into this series. But again, viOLet, you know, if he just takes a breath, just thinks about his game and just brings it back to the basics, you know, he can all you need is one win, like, to be completely frank. That's all you need, just one win. You know, just tell yourself, okay, one in a row. Then you can say, all right, 2 in a row, and then 3 in a row. So if viOLet can come back and get a win here, he can certainly make the comeback happen. But Jaedong looking so fierce in this best of 5. He's up 2-0, and he is 1 win away from advancing to the finals to play Pult, the 3rd map. It's going to be Frost Ladder Edition.
Well, I like what you said. It's going to be a series of best of ones, and I think that's the best perspective viOLet can attach to this. He has no more games to give. Every single game is his life on the line. He'll be playing for 3rd place if things continue to go the way they have, which is, again, very good. It's a great first-time performance here for him coming back. But he can take a deep breath on that and say, okay, we're playing best of ones, and I can beat Jaedong in a best of 1. I just have to do it 3 times in a row. It sounds insurmountable, but it's definitely possible.
Very well said. All right, here we are. Game number 3 of this best of 5. I present to you in the bottom right-hand location your Blue Zerg player, viOLet.
And his opponents leading 2-0 in dominant fashion so far from Team Evil Geniuses. It is Jaedong. And I do want to give a shout out before we get too far into this game. viOLet has an amazing cheering section and support behind him. You know, we've talked a lot about that visa. A lot of that could not have been possible without the wonderful representation behind him and kind of the family that they've created with, I believe they're called CSA at this point, but a big shout out to Andrew. But also, I had a brief encounter with the loving Care Bear that is Andrew this morning. He came over with a bag of breakfast tacos.
Standard.
He said, Jeff, do you want any breakfast tacos?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, of course I do, you idiot. And he gave me 3 of them. And that's probably the only reason that I'm able to cast as well, if you would regard it that way, as I now, is because of those breakfast tacos.
I'm very happy for you,
I didn't actually call him an idiot, by the way. I just thought it in my head.
That's fine. He was being pretty idiotic bringing you food.
Now, yeah, exactly. Does Jeff want breakfast tacos?
No, you're right. It's interesting because Andrew Tomlinson has really played a big role. You know, I feel like I want to kind of shed light on this story a little bit. Me and Andrew go back a pretty long way because we both went to Texas A&M. I'm still going to A&M, but
I don't know if I'd admit that. Yeah, you said you're an Aggie.
I didn't. You know what?
Some grumbles out there.
I got pride. I'll stick to my guns here. And he actually was the guy who brought viOLet over initially, and he literally slept in his living room on an air mattress and let viOLet sleep in his room for, I think it was, 6 months to a year or something.
Wow.
And committed so much of himself to really helping viOLet succeed. And of course, without that, viOLet would not be in the position he is right now. So, there's a lot of really cool stories behind the scenes in esports, and I'm happy you brought that up so I could shed some light on that.
The word has become a bit of a lightning rod for, like, silliness, but there is actually a lot of passion that goes into making a lot of what has been seen possible. Getting into the game here a little bit, you'll notice on that production tab, it's extremely similar. Both players opening with hatch first and following it up with a spawning pool. That's something that you could very likely get away with on Frost. It's a true 4-player map, a massive one at that. But once again, we see Jaedong taking the initiative, and he's going to opt for a speedling opening. As I said, he cancels it. He says, Jeff, you idiot, of course not. I'm sensing fast lair. Very fast lair.
I wonder...
he has to wait till the queens are done, but he canceled the speed.
Yeah, well, so what kind of went into that decision? I'm a little bit confused.
I don't know. And is it an accident? No. Maybe. I mean, he's not mining gas. There's not much else you can do with that 100 gas.
He literally has 100 gas just sitting there.
He didn't even see anything really pivotal, I don't think. No.
He's making a queen, so no layer. 2 more queens.
I honestly don't know. Interesting. Very interesting.
All right.
I mean, this gives him... No.
Literally just 100 gas sitting there.
It doesn't do anything for him. I was going to be like, well...
Can we officially call this a mistake? I know that's...
No, not officially.
Okay. So how can we make that an official thing?
We'd have to pull the dong onto the table. He's busy right now trying to win a tournament.
Sure.
I was just going to say, though, with the initiative, he'd have map control again because we had a gasless opening from viOLet, but that time is kind of come and gone without speed for himself. He's just like everybody else. He's even starting to remine the gas and taking the gas as natural. And he's showing to make evolution chambers and Roachborn here. So both players showing up with pretty much the same stuff right now.
Very similar builds indeed. The map, Frostlighter Edition, relatively large.
Okay, so now it's starting to make more sense. He cancels speed, and he's not making any Zerglings, so he was able to drone very extensively.
Right.
I just, you know, this is not the most perplexing thing for me to not understand this, as I'm not a top Jaedong level ZvZ player, but I just don't know what he saw that made him say, you know what, actually, even though I mined that 100 gas, I'm now bailing out of it. Because map control generally grants you a faster third hatchery, and it's a big part of the reason why he won so decisively in game number 2.
And it's interesting, I mean, y'all might think, oh, why are y'all harping on so much about it? These are the very minute details that, you know, a player like Jaedong, a player like viOLet take very seriously. It might just look like 100 gas in the bank, but, you know, he had a very deliberate reason, you know, to cancel speed. And these guys are that good where no matter how minor the circumstance, there's usually a reason for it.
Well, I'd love, I don't know if the answer would be super epic, but maybe Anna can ask him if he does go through and to win the game. And maybe he has no answer at all. He's just like, I don't know. I see things you mere mortals do not. But as
I
the
could
game
try
shows
to
up,
explain it, but you just wouldn't understand.
Exactly. viOLet is taking the slightly faster third. And if you, again, look at the production tab, you can see both are going for +1 range attack. We have this slightly faster speed upgrade for the Roaches on Jaedong's side, as the lair has not yet finished for viOLet, but it's not. It'll be about a 45-second difference, I guess, which is a pretty big window, but that upgrade's not so critical that it's like, oh my God, he's got speed and the other guy doesn't.
Right.
It'll only be a big deal if viOLet's out on the map, which would be very silly.
Sure, and at the same time, the third is a bit far away from the natural, so I could see maybe a couple circumstances where he takes advantage of the speed by trying to, you know, dodge between bases and try to take the slower viOLet off guard. But, you know, you got to consider the defender's advantage. viOLet will be able to make a lot of roaches and potentially try to secure both locations.
See how the Overlords are in a string? I think they were meant to be dropping creep so these queens can get over here faster, but they're not actually dropping creep. Now they are. He's going to try to do a Roach Queen timing attack.
Yeah, this is pretty huge. Remember, he's on 2 bases. viOLet is on 3, so viOLet needs to prioritize making units to get enough out to defend against this attack. Jaedong's up in supply, and the supply blocks are happening here for viOLet because those Overlords are dying, which means he can't make more units right now.
That is a lot of queens, by the way. That's 7 queens.
Yeah.
And they do have fairly high energy. 2 of the 7 have a lot of energy. 3, excuse me. We're going to have to see if this is going to be a big difference because there's a huge concave and a similar number of roaches at the top.
Jaedong just muscling forward, trying to get past that concave. Very smart move, trying to take advantage of his timing. A lot of transfuses available here for Jaedong, trying to close out this series right here, right now. Remember, he has speed and he has rallied units coming across the map. viOLet trying to make a defensive stand, trying to get as many roaches out as possible, even as a +2 on the way. If he can defend this, he's going to be in good shape. But Jaedong showing so much strength with all these units.
Supplies are fairly similar, but there's a 7 roach advantage for Jaedong, and he does have the 3 queens right now. And this angle is actually quite bad. Drone's being pulled. This could be a big way in maybe sealing the deal for either player. Drones oftentimes are something you really don't want to lose here, but it could be just the only way you survive. And it looks like Jaedong's going to respect him and back away a little bit as the roach count is kind of equal, but with the reinforcements coming in here, those queens anchoring this attack so well.
viOLet needs more roaches. I mean, it's not like it's over just yet, guys. If viOLet can get a hold here, he has that 3rd base on the ground and he can remake those drones. But Jaedong is really pressing the issue. He is bearing all of his strength on to viOLet, and viOLet is looking for answers, and I don't think he's going to have any. Jaedong,
not enough.
There it is. GG. Jaedong with the 3-0 over viOLet, and he will advance very comfortably on to the final to face off against Polt.
And we're going to have, in what many would consider a dream final, Polt, big time champion, taking on Jaedong in a TvZ, excuse me. Jaedong, of course, chasing one of the big gorillas on his back, looking for a big tournament win. He's had a couple this year, but you know, adding to that resume would be awesome for him. But before we get too far ahead, big tip of the hat to viOLet. viOLet had a fantastic tournament. He came in beating Seed, the best Protoss player in this tournament. And while this was fairly one-sided, it is not in any way an indicator of the success he's had. And he will play for that third place match, by the way, against Bomber, which, again, an amazing matchup. So make sure, and if you're at home, check that out on the second stream. Unfortunately, you guys here, you're forced to watch Jaedong versus Polt.